Good morning, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning. Morning.
Good morning.
Feel like we're the Brady Bunch.
I know we are kind of, oh, it is. It's exactly like the Brady Bunch. Welcome, everybody, this morning. I'm really excited to have this panel. This is going to be an awesome discussion. We are here on the Juice, and we're actually part of the Michigan House programming this week, which is going on during what would have been a great South by Southwest conference. Last year, the conference was canceled. This year, it's being done virtually. So hopefully next year, it'll actually be an in-person event again. But we're really happy to be part of it. Our discussion this morning, I think, should be really robust and really interesting. We're focusing on the restaurant business and the restaurant industry, which has been so incredibly hard hit during the pandemic. One of the industries that's been impacted, I don't know what the word is, detrimentally, severely. And I think, it's been a year. People have had to pivot. People have had to really rethink what they're doing. We've got a couple of you here who actually opened your businesses during this time, which is also an incredible feat. But I think it'll be great to sort of hear what everybody's experience was, what your feelings are moving forward. I think there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. In Michigan, the capacity for in-house dining has increased recently. The weather's getting warmer, so more opportunities for outdoor dining, outdoor seating. People are getting vaccinated. So all these things are, being, hopefully are positive things. But I think it'll be interesting to discuss that and then also discuss what things have changed for the restaurant industry moving forward, because a lot of this is in reaction to the pandemic, but I also think that consumer behavior has changed and maybe trends have changed, which then, changes the restaurant industry and maybe these are welcome changes or not, and maybe, you can share some of your feelings on that. With such a big panel this morning, what I am going to do is have everybody introduce themselves, just kind of give your, who you are, background of what you do, and then the discussion I really want to be amongst. I want you guys to feel free to talk amongst yourselves. There's different things that we can elaborate on, but just to jump in and talk to each other and respond to things that other people are saying. And I think we will take questions from anybody that's watching this live, so we'll address those as they come through. So with that said, I want to welcome everybody again, and we'll start out. I'm just going to go in the order that I see people on my screen. So Vincent, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, I'm introducing myself, right?
Yes, you are. Please.
I'm super ADHD. I'm Vince. I am owner of Irie Kitchen. We do Caribbean street food in West Michigan, Grand Rapids area. We've been around for about almost 4 years now. So, and we're only open on weekends right now. So if you're in the area, pull up on me. Come get a sandwich. Come get us some jerk chicken. It's pretty good. I may be biased, but yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thanks. Gilma.
Hi, I'm Gilma Della Cruz. Good morning. I'm owner of our Carribean Fusion Cuisine, and we are a newly restaurant in downtown Grand Rapids. And our focus is Dominican food and making that cultural impact in downtown Grand Rapids.
Thank you. Good morning, Liz.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Gilma, we have the same last name. Mine's the Italian version, Della Croce. Della Croce. Anyways, and Vince and I just returned from the Dominican, so I'm a new fan and excited to try your food. My name is Liz. I am the CEO and founder of The Lemon Bowl. It's a recipe website that I started 11 years ago, and I develop recipes for large CPG brands like Sabra Hummus or Stonyfield Yogurt. etc. And then I'm also the co-founder of Irie Lemon, my partnership with Vincent. So I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Shatawn, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Shatawn Brigham, co-owner of GR Noir Wine and Jazz in downtown Grand Rapids, and we serve wine and jazz and a good time.
And I might add that they just opened up, and Gilma as well, 2 restaurants that opened during the pandemic. So kudos to these guys. And tough. Good morning, Chef Jenna.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you all. It's early for me. I don't know about all y'all, but it's early for me. Just want to say hi. I own a restaurant called Amore on Alpine, and we've been there 11 years, and we've worked through the whole pandemic. We've been open the whole time, so I'm anxious to tell everyone what we did to kind of pivot and what we're doing now and things that may happen in the future. So looking forward to it.
Great. Good morning, Daryl.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Wow, what a rock star panel you have put together. So honored to be here. Daryl Ross with 40 Acres Soul Kitchen and Cognac Bar. I'm located in Grand Rapids.
Okay. And Chef Oscar, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Chef Oscar from MeXo. Our concept is pre-Hispanic and modern Mexican cuisine. We focus on bringing the history of the dishes in Mexico since pre-Hispanic times and bring the evolution of the cuisine in one place.
Awesome. Thanks. I think what I'll do again is maybe we'll just, start out with Vincent. We'll kind of go around, and I'd love to hear your story of, basically when things started shutting down last year. How did it impact you, and how did you react, and what really transpired in this last year? And maybe, if we start out with one person, I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to chat, but I also want to make sure that this is interactive, and, so if Vincent wants to start out and then other people want to comment, that's great too. And I'll just make sure that everybody gets a chance to jump in. So we'll start back out with Vincent and just tell us what happened.
Yeah, the pandemic came out of nowhere, right? We were up probably like 70%. I was looking to expand and grow my business. And then the kind of pandemic hit, and to be honest, I thought it was going to be like a month, maybe 2 thing. And I'm like, to be honest, I'm not going to curse, but I was like, oh, let me just get a break, because anyone here that owns a restaurant knows, like, we don't get breaks. I'm like, I'm gonna take my 8 weeks, I'm gonna take it, and I'm gonna chill, and I'm gonna come back. And then it was like, longer and longer, and I was like, wait a minute, I own a restaurant, I can't be closed this long, And so that was kind of like my initial thing was like, okay, this is serious, this is real. Let's do our part to get it back open, because I felt like we were being attacked the most. Like they were saying, restaurants are the issue. I'm like, all right, well, I'll close down for a little bit, and then really quick, really fast, it's like, all right, we have to reopen. And so I kind of missed the first 2 months of COVID, to be honest. I wasn't in it. So I didn't really pivot right away. When I came back, I realized that I was primed to win because I was to go anyway. And so it was like, all right, we already have a great concept. People love our food. The question is now is how do we stand out? There's all these other restaurants who are doing the same thing, right? Everyone has a to-go offering. And so it's like, how can we be different? And so we started adding things to our menu. We started like changing things up, started playing with our hours. We did anything possible to kind of like stand out and remind people of who we are, which is kind of hard when you're not, I'm kind of outside of the downtown space, which could have been, in hindsight, probably a good move because no one's downtown anymore, to be honest. But in the moment, it was like, all right, how do I stand out? How can I be different? And that was kind of like my only thinking the whole time, and stay alive and survive, and then figure out how we can thrive. So that's kind of my whole mindset during the pandemic. And so it was just, menu changes, website design, do anything possible to like, make it frictionless for my customer.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So Gilma, you were in the middle of, opening, planning, getting ready to open. How were you impacted?
Yeah, so we were scheduled to open in January, but the health department made some changes, and we had to make those changes to be able to open. So then we changed our date to the first week of March, and that's when everything happened. So we were like, okay, what do we do now? We said, well, let's push it up to the first week of April, and then it got pushed back again, and it kept getting pushed back. At one point, my husband and I asked ourselves, do we want to keep going? Do we just want to get rid of this idea and stop everything, just give up, I guess, at that point? And we're like, well, of course, I was like, no, I want to try it. I just want to see what's going to happen. Let's see if we get the support. And we went for it. We opened July 10th. And it was during the summertime, it was good. I was like, oh, okay, even though we're not at full capacity, we're still getting some response from the community, which is a positive thing for us. So we kept going. And unfortunately, we got to the winter month, September, fall, and October, November. Those were really hard for us. We didn't qualify for a lot of the grants out there because we are too new to get any extra money. We received a grant from the right place, and by November it was gone. And at that point, again, we asked ourselves, do we want to keep going? Do we just shut our doors and be done with it? We again decided not to do it. We were like, let's keep going. We keep motivating ourselves that things are going to get better. But we had to change our menus. We went from opening with 5 staff members to 3 full-time staff members, which includes my husband and I, and 1 full-time server, which that's what we are right now. My husband and I are dishwasher, line cooks, servers, and anything else you can add right now. Besides, my husband has a job, so it's crazy times right now for us. And just trying to ask our customers to be patient with us, because there's Saturdays when it's just our busiest day. We're out there and saying like, oh, we only have 1 full-time server and we have to, take care of all these tables. Just please be patient, and we're gonna get there. Like I said, menu changes. A lot of our prices on meat are going up, so that's huge. And making sure that we still keep the same quality and keeping our clients' favorite items and not affecting us so much. We had to shut down for lunch because there's not a lot of lunch traffic in downtown right now. Unfortunately, I just heard on the news last night that might be extended to October. So we don't know what's going to happen with our lunch traffic, if we should stay closed for lunch until it gets better down there. If you go to our restaurant, you'll see that our sign is messed up because it's also got our brand new sign got messed up during the riots in downtown. So we decided, I was like, I don't have the extra money to get a new sign, so we're going for it like that. So it's been really tough. We're just keeping our hopes and in our community that they're going to continue to support us and that things will get better.
Gotcha. Liz, how did it all unfold for you?
Well, as a recipe developer, what happened was something I never expected in the 11 years. But, when everyone went in lockdown in April, people were now cooking from home. Many people, which I forget, there's a lot of people that never cook, that had to cook for the first time. And of course, my kids are now homeschooled, and it was just, to be honest, I couldn't keep up with the demand for, recipes. And it was, literally within a month on just Pinterest, we hit like 10 million people, which was normally it was 4 million. I couldn't keep up with the DMs and the comments and the questions. And, obviously too, you want to be helpful to people that now have to literally cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Their husbands or wives are home. No one's going into offices anymore. Even myself, I felt like I was cooking around the clock, and I love to cook and cook for a living, and it was overwhelming. And I can't imagine if you didn't know how to cook, there were many people that, had 3, 4, 5 kids home now, their spouse home. So long story short, it was just very overwhelming, but nothing for me to ever complain about it. But it, you know, when restaurants shut down, then obviously the demand for recipes shot way up. So it was just a little bit overwhelming because I wasn't able to really dive into it because I was obviously now a homeschooling mom and all that stuff. So it was unexpected and kind of crazy, but it also shifted how I write recipes. So for example, people are going to the grocery store fewer times in a month, but they're buying more. I tend to go around the world for my inspiration, but I have to make sure that the ingredients I'm putting in my recipes are easy for people to find anywhere in the country. So just really, cooking from your pantry, cooking from your freezer. So just it really changed how I write my recipes because how people cook at home and how often people are cooking at home completely changed.
Interesting. Shatawn, you guys, as well as Gilma, you opened right in the middle of everything. So
Yeah, so we do not know business pre-COVID, right? So we were never open before COVID, and so it was all new for us. We were scheduled to open spring of 2020, and of course, COVID hit in March, and it shut everything down. But for us, we took that opportunity to fine tune our process. I did a lot of more, wine tastings, because I want to make sure that the wine we were supplying were, really great quality wine. We hired staff. We, fine-tuned our menu, our space. So there are some things that we were able to get done during that time that COVID hit, and so we were able to, spend the summer just really, digging in, understanding the business side of everything, making sure that we knew what we wanted the experience to be for customers to come in. And so we were able to open the first weekend of December for curbside pickup, and that took off immediately. We became very, very busy, got through the holiday season. Then, of course, when the governor gave the okay for restaurants to open on February 1st, first day of Black History Month, we jumped on it and opened our doors, and we've been off and running, ever since. And so, I spoke to a lot of restaurant owners, many of them, on this panel, and just pick their brains and try to get a sense of, what does all this mean? How do you guys, as Vincent said, how do we stand out? We know that you can go anywhere in town and find wine and jazz, but we wanted to be very, very intentional about who we are. Where if you come into GR Noir, you're coming for wine or jazz or both. Not staying in our lane and not deviating too far from who we are. And I think being able to do that and build a really strong social media campaign online platform has really helped us to get out the gate running. And so our hope is that we continue. My hope is that we all continue to grow and move beyond where we are with this COVID. But until then, we'll keep doing what it is that we do, making sure that we're staying safe and providing quality wine, jazz, and service to the community.
Thank you. Chef Jenna.
Yes, Shatawn, I can't wait to come see you at GR Noir. I'm like trying to find a day where I can come in. So congrats on your opening. I've heard such good things. I'm so excited to visit you. So Maurizio and I were watching the news in Italy when COVID hit. They were about 3 weeks ahead of us and they were shut down. So actually I think it was like the Saturday before we got shut down, Maurizio actually started taking bar stools away from the bar and measuring tables 6 feet apart because he saw that's what they were doing in Italy. And everyone thought we were a little bit crazy. But in the end, 2 days later, we got shut down and we just decided overnight. And you can imagine the stress that comes with that. Trying to figure out overnight or in a couple days what you're going to do to turn a fine dining restaurant into a to-go place. And luckily, we have a huge parking lot in the back. So we're like, okay, we're going to have to go through the back door now and figure out a way to run food. So that's what we did. We decided we would move from 5 days being open to 7 days and just shorten our time period from 4 to 7 when people were getting out of work or when they could run over, but schools were closed too, so we had to figure out all that. So we decided to be open from 4 to 7 and try to figure out a whole new system. And we did that overnight, and it didn't work the first couple weeks. It was hard. Then we got kind of a flow, and we realized that take and bake items were hot because then people weren't getting a sloshed up to-go box by the time they got home and it was soggy. So we started incorporating half pans of lasagna, which was our savior this year. It actually allowed us to have some profit. On Mother's Day, we had to rent a refrigerated truck because we had 525 orders of half pans of lasagna for Mother's Day. It was insanity. So we learned that that was where people wanted us to be, and so we just ran with it. Obviously, half pan isn't for everyone, and so we started making smaller portions, enough for 2 people, or 1 person could eat it for a couple meals. And then we had to decide if we were going to open inside again once we were allowed to. And I initially didn't want to because it wasn't enough profit for us to be open at 25%. So I didn't open initially, and I stayed with to-go. And then I slowly opened the patio because it was warm enough. And I saw that people were comfortable, and it's all about consumer confidence right now. So when we saw people were comfortable enough to come in, we had to do both, which is hard because it means you have to staff both. And we didn't have a lot of staff. So we had to kind of split up staff between to-goes and front of the house. And that was a whole nother ball game. So it's been really hard to pivot, but we've really tried to do our best, and it's also more expensive because we have to buy gloves and masks and all these things that before we didn't have to buy. So not only are we not open at 100% and still paying 100% of our bills, we also have to tack on those extra things that we already can't afford. So like I said, PPP came at a good time, and we're grateful that we got that, but it was still, it was a year for the books, you guys.
Yeah. Oh my God. Daryl.
Yeah, it's been quite a year. Yeah, we've been all over the place at 40, and kind of like a lot of people in the panel. So I think, like Vinny, we started out kind of chilling, like it was March, February, restaurants, January and February, you're hemorrhaging anyway. Weather was bad, so we felt we'd slow down for a while. Then it became kind of like Shatawn, where I just found myself doing a lot more wine testing because it lasted a lot longer. So that part wasn't bad either. But for me, I think uncharacteristically, I decided to work on the brand versus push food. So 40's brand, and it was such around an experience and the culture and being in place that we were very intentional on not wanting to mess that up. So it was kind of this balance on how do we keep a demand for what 40 is while still kind of making some revenue and keeping some people employed and so forth. So we still to date haven't reopened. So we're still just curbside and to go. And I joke, and I'm quite serious, like at 50%, we just don't have a half-ass model. So we don't know, our restaurant doesn't work at 50%, right? And again, I think one of the cool things about owning a restaurant is people decide to share moments with you, right? A lot of things go down in restaurants, whether that's engagements, birthdays, and so forth. And, you have to be a steward of that space. And right now we just can't deliver that. So, but what we did do is we just totally went back to the lab and just looked at like business operations, the brand and everything from really a design standpoint. So how's the user experience looking like online? When you walk in, is that the same as the customer experience? I think right now that is going to be a norm, right? People are now used to jumping on their phone, ordering online. We're launching a hybrid model kind of when we open back up, which is taking into account a lot of innovation, a lot of new kitchen equipment and so forth. So really, again, looking at how I think our energy, best said, is we spend a lot of energy on being better for when we open back up versus trying to spend energy in just maintaining a partial brand. And I think it'll bode well. So like, yeah, today we're rolling in new equipment. We're doing staff training, new menu items. So really looking excited. But again, we won't open the doors until we can deliver a full customer experience. And we'll just continue to serve good food and keep some people employed and so forth. But I would say we're in a holding pattern. And again, uncharacteristically, it's not been bad actually, other than losing a lot of money. But as far as that, the other thing is, I think I was unique in that both my clients or customers and my staff were fit the highest demographic of COVID suffering, right? So mostly minority, younger. So, you know, we just didn't want to be, and most of our customers are older, minorities and so forth coming in. So we wanted to, again, set an example and be a steward of that too. So participated in pro-masking commercials and so forth and things like that. But as far as the restaurant business, really, yeah, just sitting back, getting older and wiser, and watching the young veterans like Vinny and the up and coming ones like Shatawn, and just learning and waiting to apply it.
Awesome. Oscar, how did you guys do?
Well, you know, it's like before the pandemic, we were thriving. We're going to our third year, and then we're finally getting the concept going, because it's one of the challenges, you know, is that you have a different concept and you have to educate your customer base, because, you know, pre-Hispanic, a lot of people, you know, don't understand what pre-Hispanic food is. And that's what the name of MeXo came in, because basically it's cutting the history of Mexico in half, before the Spaniards and after the Spaniards. So like the original Mexican recipes. And then when everything was completely gluten-free and dairy-free, until after Mexico gained the independence from the Spaniards, then, you know, that's when we start seeing dairy and all gluten in our food. So it was going good. Then the pandemic hit, and then we wanted to take a pause and then rethink what we're doing, because basically, like, coming to MeXo is an experience, and that's the part we want to show, you know, like people that, you know, we're shut down. So we took a break. We lay off everybody. And then during that time, I was ready to do a big event. So my freezer, my coolers were full of food and stuff like that. And I was sitting home, it's like, what are I going to do with that? So I started making survival packages for all my employees. And like somebody here say, like, there's people that never cook in their life. So I'm writing, you know, like recipes in bags and zip bags and say, hey, this is how you cook rice. This is how you cook this. And then I put packages together for all the employees, but I still had a lot of food. Then I called some organizations around and I started making meals for families. Then that took off, and we were like feeding 170 people, you know, once a week on Thursday. Then those organizations will send me drivers that will pick the bags and then drop them off in, you know, families' houses and stuff like that. Then after that, I ran out of the food, and vendors start donating, and start keeping doing that. Then we start doing to-goes, and then I still have some time left. And then during that time, I was thinking, how can I help? You know, so I'm part of the ACF and diversity and inclusion. And then I was thinking, how can I help all the restaurants, you know, especially minority restaurants? And then I developed a program that it helped, you know, like restaurant owners with operations of the restaurants, and just like re-looking and how they were doing things and how they can do it better in their own language. So I created a program in Spanish for restaurant operations. And then I linked it to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and the program is 10 weeks. And then I'm in my 8th week right now with 17 different restaurants, you know, like teaching them like how to cost dishes, like inventory turns, you know, menu engineering, all those things that they didn't learn before they opened the restaurant. And it's been working. A lot of they're excited at what they learned, and they asked me if I can do like part 2 and 3 now. But now that we're 50% capacity, we even having good response. With dinner especially, like Gilma said, downtown is kind of tough right now with all the offices are closed for lunch. But even lunch we open, and most of the days we have good response. But it's tough still.
Gotcha. So I'm gonna open it up to just everybody, kind of chiming in. I'm really interested to hear what, so that was sort of the backstory. That's how we got to where we are now. But what do you see moving forward with things kind of opening up a little bit? I'm just curious to see how do you look at the industry now? And maybe even comment on consumer behavior. People have taken a break from going to restaurants, and so I think there's a couple of things. There's pent up demand, so people want to get out and about, and yet people are like, oh, maybe I'm not ready, or I'm kind of used to doing more takeout. So there's a lot of different. I think there's a lot of different mind shifts happening. So.
Oh, go ahead, Jim.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So I decided when we were allowed to open at 25% that I was going to make our indoor dining experience an experience. And so I decided, after a lot of thought, to do a 5-course chef's tasting menu only on the inside. So if people are looking to celebrate and looking to go out for a nice meal, I really wanted to provide a kind of an experience. So it's 5 courses for $59. It's an awesome deal. But as you know, we're in West Michigan, and people see that number, and not everyone, but a good amount of people saw that number, and were, I don't know if they were turned off, but they it was a point where they were like, either I'm gonna go or I'm not. So we decided to do that indoors and keep our to-go orders the same pricing. But because my real estate at my tables is important to me right now, I want that someone coming in is going to be willing to spend some money. After the year we've had, I think we deserve it. So that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it until we're open at 100%. And it's been awesome. It's been tough, but awesome. The people who do want to do it are thrilled. They walk in the door clapping. They're so excited to be inside. And then we have the people that don't read social media and they don't watch. We have a texting system for to-go or for reservations. So we do send the menu out just to make sure that they know that's what we're serving and only what we're serving. And then they get there and they're like, well, we didn't read it. And it's like, okay, but we sent it to you, so you can't be upset about it. So it's been a lot of explaining, changing, fixing, and it's been frustrating already as for a year that we've had, but it's been really frustrating to see how people are not willing to read or look, and then there's the people that are like, I'm so excited. This is a great menu. I've been looking forward to going out, and I feel special. I feel spoiled. So it's interesting to see consumers, and you kind of narrow your base to the people you want at that point. And then you get to decide your customer base because they're the ones that are willing to spend money, smiling, having a good time. They want to come out and do a bourbon flight, So, I mean, bourbon has been my COVID addiction. I'm not going to lie. So I have like 48 new bottles on my bar at the restaurant. And that's sparked interest in people who like bourbon. Obviously, we have a wine list and everything else, but it's just been one of those years to pivot and change and stand your ground for what you believe in and still move forward. We're still doing fine. And obviously our tickets are at least $60 a person, but going up to almost 100. So our servers are making really good money because they're, getting tipped well, and we're having fewer tables, but we're making more money, if that makes sense to you. So it was kind of my way to flip the switch on the whole year, and I might just stay with it if it works, and then build that base on top of the people that are willing to spend that.
Yeah, I was gonna something very similar. I think you asked like, what are we gonna do? I think one of the interesting things that came out or that I noted is, I mean, if you're a restaurant owner, you're already bred kind of different or crazy. I mean, it's a different game, right? So I mean, it's fun, but it's cruel, it's thankless at times. But I think what COVID has allowed for the first time is for restaurant owners to have a little bit of control, right? So pre-COVID, I mean, it was just 24/7, 7 days a week, pushing food out. Food was almost commoditized, right? And it was all driven by consumers' demands. Now, all of a sudden, you can say, hey, we're open Thursday to Sunday. We have these dishes because these are what's profitable, and consumers understand that. And so actually, I think the interesting part is I've talked to no restaurant owner who's like, oh, I'm just getting out of the game. Everybody's kind of innovating and, to Jenna's point, doing it on their own terms more and standing their ground around their concept and their brand. So, I mean, I think that's really cool. I think one of the obvious pivots for 40 is we just focus more on catering. So we offset our in-house dining with catering, a lot of small family caterings, corporate caterings, and so forth. But also what has opened up for us our larger events, where historically, you go down to the JW or Amway, those events are now closed. So people are doing Zoom meetings with boxes, and you pick up the food and so forth. And we've really been able to capitalize in that catering market. So again, just continuing to pivot, innovate. But I love Jenna's words, but stand in our ground with our brand and our concepts. And in a lot of ways, it's a lot easier now because a lot of the noise is gone.
I have a question for Jenna. All right, so Jenna's obviously the clear winner during COVID. So I'm here to get all the sauce and all the gems from the boss. Because like you just do such a great job. So curious, like when do you think you communicating what you do for the community has helped grow your business during COVID? Or do you think and has it been new people or has it been the old fans doubling down? Just curious.
That's a great question. So I think Vincent's talking about my newest thing. Well, I have two new things. One is my new 501c3 called Food Hugs. And under that umbrella is something I'm doing called Tip Back Thursday. And it's Thursday today. So after this, I'm going to tip people.
Oh, cool.
So we started in January. I was meeting one of my friends for a birthday lunch. And I had seen a TikTok of a girl in Tennessee giving huge tips via crowdfunding through her TikTok. So I'm like, I wonder if I can do this in Grand Rapids, but instead of giving it to one server, giving it to the whole staff and focusing on minority-owned businesses and female-owned businesses was a big part of it for me. So, and also some of them are smaller staff. So when we tip $1,000, maybe 4 people get $250, and maybe that's a payment that they couldn't make earlier. So we started doing that, and we're up to $36,000 in 3 months that we've given back to the community in tips, and they're all $1,000 tips or more. So it's kind of like filling my cup. It's selfish because it's filling my cup every Thursday. I look forward to it. But also I post the videos so I can get more donations the next week, which I got some crap for in the beginning, saying, why are you filming a good deed? You should just do it. But the point is, I want to inspire others to be gracious and tip well, but I also want the crowdfunding to still continue. So that's what we're doing. Today we're tipping back 3 places again because we got enough. And I'm asking for $5 increments. But what happens is people see that and they feel good. And to Vincent's point, yes, we've not only have doubled down on our regulars, but we've also gained new people that say, I saw this, I love this. What else are you doing? So the Food Hugs is actually hopefully going to be a scholarship for female chefs or future female chefs under that umbrella, as well as Tip Back Thursday and giving back to the frontline workers. So I'm trying to promote positivity as well. We've had a tough year. I'm trying to bring spirits back up. I'm trying to show people like we see you, we know you're struggling. I'm getting really cool backstories. Like weeks later, I hear from the mother of the kid that I tipped back, or the grandma, or, you know, I'm hearing backstories that like warm my heart. I'm like, shoot, I got to write a book because all these stories are really cool. But Vincent, yes, you're correct. People really need to feel seen and loved right now. So I think that is kind of a sponge moment where they just want to soak it up. And it does definitely bring more people in. I mean, I'm not making $1 million. I don't think any of us are in this for that. I think everyone that owns a restaurant, none of us are gonna be buying a yacht soon. You know what I'm saying? But I'm thinking that a little bit of money and smiles can really get someone through a hard time. So I'm gonna continue to do that as long as I can.
Well, I commend you because that's huge, and it inspired me. I'm like, Jenna's really doing it because you understand the struggle. I have another question for Shatawn. Do you think opening up during the pandemic with the story, with the concept, do you think has it been something that's so busy, or do you think it's been hard to win customers? Because I went to your spot. First off, it's beautiful, and you guys do an amazing job. Mm-hmm. But I'm also curious, like, is it the best time to open a restaurant in your opinion right now, just because everyone's like looking for new things, or do you think, no, I wish I opened before?
No, I mean, I think there's never a good time to do anything, right? We can always come up with an excuse as to why we didn't do this. Couldn't do this because my car got broke down, or the kids had this, or something happened. And so for us, we grapple with that for quite some time. Like, do we do this now, or do we wait until the pandemic is totally gone? Which, who knows if that's going to even be the case. And so for us, Nadia and I both, our spirit and our energy is just, let's do it. If not now, when? And then we can sit back and wait and allow somebody else to do it, and sit back and then wonder, wow, we shoulda, coulda, woulda. And so for us, the energy has been great, the support has been great. We're seeing new people every day, right? We've been open a little over a month, and there's people that's coming in that's never been in the space. And so we're excited about that. And we get also that we're new, and everybody goes to that honeymoon phase. We're looking down the road as to what is this going to look like in the fall or even next year. And so we're constantly, as Daryl talked about, the brand. Gerald Noir is a brand, not just a wine and jazz bar. So we're looking at other opportunities that are being presented to us now about how to grow Gerald Noir. And so I think the timing was what it was. It's nothing we can do about that. But again, I get so much inspiration, watching and hearing you all, and what you're doing and what you had to overcome, being open pre-COVID, and then coming back and open your doors again. That we're watching. I'm an observer by nature, so I watch and I pay attention and I listen, even if I don't comment. But I'm watching, and so kudos to all of you, just for the work that you're doing. That you may hear from other people or not, but speaking from one business owner to you all is we're watching, and we appreciate all the support that and the advice that you guys are giving to us and other business owners as well. So
for us, sorry, were you going to talk, Laurie?
I was actually going to ask you something.
We're super excited for the warm weather, the summer. We're grateful for what DGR has done in downtown with the outdoor sitting. Even though we don't have an alcohol license, the outdoor sitting that we have is part of the social zone, so that people who sit outside are able to buy drinks from any of the bars that are on Monroe Center and then get our service for food. So that has been very helpful for us, and we're very excited to extend that patio in the summer, as well, keeping the communication with our neighbors, especially like House of Wine, who has been very helpful to us, and seeing what they have to do with all the social zone and how that can help us as well. Bringing some new menu items to be more tropical with the weather, and just keeping in mind that our space has a lot of opportunities. We recently did an event with Eric Picardo, who's a Dominican artist here in Grand Rapids, and he did a canvas, a painting class, and we did a hot cocoa and bread theme. And that was pretty exciting. He had about 10 people participating, keeping all the distances, and people were very excited about that. So we want to continue to do things like that in our space, embracing that art that we have in the space right now, inviting all other local artists to be part of this. We don't only want to embrace our culinary art, but also bring different pieces to the space so that people have a different experience. So the art, the patio, the food, and when you guys come in, you are also being able to hear Dominican music, the bachata, the merengue, and trying to teach people also about our culture. It's not just coming to eat food, but also, like Chef Jenna and others have said, it's making that experience more. That it's not just the food, but you're coming here and leaving with a full experience. For any menu item that we have, we try that to tell a story in our menu items, and we want to make sure that every person that comes to the restaurant knows about that story. So we have that, trying to have that connection more and more, and seeing what the summer's going to bring us now.
Do you think, and maybe Chef Oster can jump in on this too, because we're ethnic, we're not American, right? So how do you guys think more of local Grand Rapids has been excited to eat our food? Or do you think they're even more hesitant as like they used to be? What's your opinion on that?
In my experience so far, it has been very well received. At first I thought, well, this is for my community, this is for the Hispanic people that know about this food, but no, it has not been like that. We're seeing more and more different cultures coming in. They love to have the different and the authenticity. I think that's the biggest one. Like I always say, I don't want to change it. I don't want to customize it so that I have, something that tastes like, let's say, American food. I don't want it to have it like that. I want it to have my touch. I want it that when they try the real thing. So that's a big thing. I think people are more open to different foods now, especially because of travel. People go to, it used to be that I used to say Dominican Republic and nobody knew where that is. Like they were, what is that? It's an island. Where is it? And they would ask about it. But I feel that more and more people are knowing about other countries. So that helps a lot too.
Yeah, so it's been my experience too. I was able to talk about a little bit more about my culture to the food, and then that's what it is. It's connect people with like the real Mexican roots, where Mexican food came from. And we grind our corn in a restaurant. We do everything in house. We have greenhouses. We keep herbs going for to keep the authenticity and the traditional methods of pre-Hispanic until now. So yeah, it's been. I've been having a lot of new customers too after we opened, and I used to do this pre-Hispanic dinner celebrating different cultures like the Aztecs and Mayans and all those a month, and people are asking for those to get back. So as soon as we can get back to that, it's going to be great.
Wow, Daryl, I got a question for you.
I love this.
Oh, sorry, Laurie.
No.
Totally kidding. This is great.
Liz knows how I am. So, Daryl, I'm curious. Our community. Do they understand you being closed? That's that. I want the straight answer because I'm on weekends right now. And I don't think people get it.
I think I think we get a lot of grace. To be honest with you, I think it's a balance of you want some type of demand, right? So I would rather hear, oh, we can't wait for you to open. Oh, we missed 40. Oh, I want to sit at the bar versus, we got there and got some nasty ass food and a box to go. And you know what I mean? And we're just trying to do what we did under a different environment. So I don't know if there's an understanding like in a positive way or not, but I think it's been in a way that we have some pent up demand. So when we roll back out, again, it'll be a whole new ball game. But yeah, I think we get a lot of grace. And then again, if we don't, it's okay because I'm not for super spread.
No, food is still on point,
Actually,
even curbside. So I
Vince-
mean, you know,
What were you gonna say, Liz?
I think Jenna was talking.
No, I was.
Oh, Jenna, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, Vince. I actually, when we talked earlier this year, I thought it was a genius move on your part to just be open weekends and create a demand for your product, because you know what? During the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday usually are slow anyway. So why don't you just blow it up on the weekend? Make people know that that's when you're open, and then you get a break too. I mean, shoot, we all could use a little mental break. And it's so nice to have 2, 3, 4 days off and then just hustle the last 3. And
yeah, we're
you know,
seriously considering it, making it permanent.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're sitting here as we talk about rolling back out. Like, hey, you know, that Thursday to Sunday is a pretty. It works out pretty good. Again, customers are waiting for you to open. You have some pent up demand. And we carry those days. I mean, and again, one of the things COVID has just exposed is it's no longer that, oh, okay, I can lose money on Tuesday because I'll make it up on Wednesday, or, you know, January's okay because, you know, spring is coming. So I think to make numbers daily, weekly, monthly, it's so much a number game now. It'll be very interesting. And I think a lot of these changes will be permanent. Especially to Jenna's point, I mean, if we can get our staff to get the same amount of tips and a better quality of life and more balance, I mean, hell, who's heard of that in restaurants?
Yeah, I think that's like the thing that's opened up, right? And even I hustle, so when I saw my opportunity to cut down my work, I did. I'm all about being efficient, and you know, it worked. As the Supreme effect, the Jordan effect, that's my generation. And you make it exclusive, you make it hot, you'll do more. And so that's what my kind of approach was. And I think what I'm trying to get a lot of restaurant owners to understand is that we have this space, so be flexible, be open to ideas. Don't be so rigid into, you know, just a singular concept. Because now you have to look at it like, well, you know, there's the ghost kitchen thing, right? Which I have my thoughts on that. You know, there's delivery, you know, there's your brand. You know, a lot of you guys, I have a small space. A lot of you guys have bigger spaces than me. And so the question would be like, you know, if this is for Irie for Friday through Sunday, what are we going to do Monday through Thursday? Are we closed? Do we cater? I cater. Are you doing private events? Like, how can you flip your space? Because to Daryl's point, to Jenna's point, you know, Mondays weren't the busiest day. We're in West Michigan, you know, like Tuesday was not a busy day. Most people make their money Thursday through Sunday, and that's how they survive in the restaurant business. And I used to joke, it's a horrible business. Like, why would you only want to make money Thursday through Sunday? You want to make money every fucking day, right? And so that's kind of where I'm at. Is like, how can I utilize my space? How can I build my brand? You know, and I'm a little bit different. Like, I have, you know, I'm cool on the internet a little bit, and we get people that are not from here that like our brand. And so for me, it's like, I'm probably going left instead of right. I'm probably going to be doubling down more on how can I build a brand that's nationwide, and how can I attack and use social media? How can I use Instagram? How can I use texting? How can I develop a product? Like, that's where I'm thinking, because that's what we have. We have output, we have kitchen, we have staff, we have brands. And I'm pretty sure that I can make people in New York care about Irie Kitchen. And that just kind of expands my customer base. So that's where I'm running towards. I love the local market. I love the community. And when we open up fully, I'll be back at it. But currently right now, I don't think till 2022 we'll be back to normal. So this next year and a half, I'm chasing building e-commerce, and I'm chasing building something completely different.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point, because I think that's the move. You know, even for us only being in our infancy stage right now, and we're doing really well. But I'm also thinking 2, 3, 5, 10 years down the road, right? You know, we get messages and calls and emails from people, South Carolina, you know, New York. You know, we're getting a lot of inquiries around hosting bridal showers and renting out the space for family reunion. And so, you know, our space is not a huge space. You know, even at 100% capacity, it's not a lot of people. And I get that. So that's why, you know, for us, we're looking at other opportunities. You know, our wine club is taking off, and, you know, we're doing virtual tastings and all of those things, because, you know, it is about, you know, looking at it from a global standpoint. Of course, you know, we love our community and those who are supporting us, the foundation of what we are and who we are, small businesses in Grand Rapids. But, it's a numbers game, and, the internet, has made everything very small. And so, how do we continue to, look at it from a larger, viewpoint on who we are and as we brand our business. And so, that's why, again, I said with Jared Noir, we're definitely looking at some other opportunities that's being presented to us on, what's next, as we move forward. And so, we're not waiting for the next pandemic to hit. We're going to be trying to get so far beyond all of this that, we're not going to, sit, lie, and wait, to be shut down or closed permanently, because we have so many other things that's in the pot as well. So I totally agree with everything you're saying, Vince, as far as, stretching out, branching out and making those connections so that, we bring people to Grand Rapids, who heard about us and watched us on, social media. And so that's only good for all of us as a community. So I'm with you there.
So, I think with a lot of people working from home and being at home more often, I mean, we've all read all kinds of things about how in some ways this has been a really interesting look at society, because all of a sudden now we're home, we're with our families, we're cooking at home. And so we've almost been forced to do that. And that's not such a bad thing. So I think, like Liz, you said there was an explosion of people looking for recipes, because cooking at home with your family is kind of a fun thing. And so maybe, moving forward with not everybody going back to work in the way that we did before, a lot of people are doing hybrid work models. Maybe dining out is becoming, like y'all were saying, it's more of an experience instead of, oh, I'm at work, I don't have time to, cook, I'm just going to run out and grab something. But instead, it's more thoughtful. I can only go to Irie Kitchen because they're only open then, and I only go here because they're open then. So it is more of a special occasion. Not that it always has to be that way. I mean, there's still going to be times when you do it, but I think it gives an interesting, maybe more of a balance for restaurants, because you can suddenly feel empowered to be in charge of your schedule. You don't have to be everything to everybody all the time.
I'd like to speak on that quickly. I really did love my extra time with my family that I usually don't get. So when we were open 4 to 7 during the pandemic, we had dinner as a family every single night, which we never got before when we were open from 4 to 10. So I got to hang out with my girls. We got to cook together. That was a silver lining for me. And so I am feeling happy about that little part of COVID. So obviously we always have to look for the positives. But the other thing that I did start doing because of this is Zoom lessons. So I've been teaching people how to cook via Zoom, and they can pick up a kit at the restaurant, and then we get a Zoom link up. And I've been doing it a lot for like Amway Corporation, Meyer Corporation, and it's just a way for the teams to reconnect because they're not in the office together anymore. So we get on at 5 o'clock, we drink a glass of wine, and I teach them how to make a sauce or a pizza or anything, they really want, but I do have like a special list, which is also something I never would have provided before COVID. So like I said, people are cooking more at home, and I think it's awesome. And I knew that Liz would have an uptick because everyone wants to look at recipes now. They want to they're behind their phones and computers looking into our world. They love seeing our world because, Food Network is a thing because people love watching food shows. So for them to be able to connect with a local chef or a local recipe writer like Liz is cool. And it's a new level of business right now. So, I don't charge that much for it, but it's some way that they feel like they're connected. And like when we talk about brands as well, like I look at Vince, I see his face and I want your tofu. So he's building a brand that's strong. And as soon as someone looks at me and says, do you have lasagna soup in your purse? Well, no, but I'm glad that you thought about my food when you saw my face. And that's why it's important to get your face out there. I know a lot of people, some people don't feel comfortable with that, but it is an important way that people can connect with you and build your brand, because they see you and they think, oh, I want that food. And Gilma, I love your mom's food, and she was one of my first tip backs, her mom at Rincon Criollo. And I can't wait to come see you too, Gilma, because I'm going to love your food too. But just the part of seeing, I love food, right? So I see people's faces, and the first thing I think of is, I want that food, It's just part of being a chef probably too. But it just I think it'll continue to excite me as long as I live to learn about new food. And so I would love to see other people in this crew do the same thing. I would love to get a Zoom lesson with all of you, because I'm always looking to learn things. So
yeah, Jenna, you hit the nail on the head. Liz and I are doing classes with Irie Lemon. I'll be doing exclusive Irie kitchen classes where I convinced Pops to give, trade secrets, which took me the whole pandemic to do that. Well, when you guys do see those links, make sure you hop on, because that's probably the only time I can convince him to teach you how to make curry goat from scratch. But Liz, I'm curious, because you're not in the weeds like we are, and you promote big brands, you promote restaurants. How can we be better? What are we missing? What are we not thinking about from a consumer aspect? In your opinion.
I think, to be honest, it's you guys have to leverage the internet more. It's free. So I feel like it's, all of my social platforms have been built organically without anything paid. So like I said, even this last 30 days, my team just sent me, we hit 10 million views on Pinterest, and that's organically. My Facebook page is 160,000 organic. And the real thing there is you just have to be consistent. I mean, Jenna, you're the queen of this. Don't overthink it. Hop on live, post a photo of what you're having at home on a casual, like Sunday or whatever day you're off. I think if you look around, there's content everywhere. And I think we, overthink it, or we don't feel comfortable self-promoting. But like Jenna said, people want to know more about you, your stories, your rich histories. I know firsthand that people want to know where the recipes come from, what inspired the recipes. And I know people like Pops are a little bit tight with those recipes, but I think loosening that up a little bit, you'll get it back tenfold. And I think that's something that, the lemon bowl was built on my family's Syrian recipes. And I mean, my recipes are free for everyone to have. And the more you give and the more you share and the more stories you tell, the more trust that you build and the more people that you have captivated with you, so that when you do have something, and I know people like Pops are a little bit, it's like repeating. But when you do have something to sell later, they'll buy it. Like Vincent and I are doing a cooking class March 24th, and it's because we've created that trust and all of that and told those stories that people will now, buy that cooking class and things like that. So I just think the internet's still being underutilized, and it's free.
Yeah. Gilma, how much do you use Instagram? What's your social media game?
So right now we're on Instagram and Facebook, and we've been posting about 3 times a week. I'm not very good at social media and all the internet thing. Something I have on my to-do list of learning how to do it myself, so I don't have to pay for it. So currently I have someone local too that's starting their business, and they gave me a deal, to say it like that, to help us out when we open, and they've been helping with our Instagram, Facebook posting. I would love to be more involved. Honestly, that's my thing, that I've been so busy in the inside and the background of all the restaurant that I'm not out there. And I feel that I should be. And that's where my goal is right now, to focus more on me being out. And like you've all, all know each other somehow. I know heard Chef Jenna, I've heard all of you, but we haven't met like that. So I would love to learn more about how to get that involvement, get the restaurant out there. How else can I do more marketing without having to put a big amount of money out of my pocket? So things like that.
I agree with you, Gilma. Yeah, the community thing is huge. One thing I think I made a major mistake in early on was not getting more involved in the community. People have to know you here locally. They're not going to say it out loud, but if you're not running into the circles, people are not going to know who you are. They're not going to be running to support you. And luckily, I had a good product. Luckily, I had a decent story, and people kind of cared. But if I were to go back, I would definitely spend a lot of time meeting Daryl, meeting Jenna. Like, you gotta know Murph, you gotta know Laurie. Like, you have to know them because they're gonna be like, oh yeah, Irie Kitchen. They're gonna be like, oh yeah, so that is how you win locally here. Like, you have to kind of be seen, be heard, and let people know who you are. If not, you're just a blip. They're like, oh yeah, you're over there, right? And so luckily I'm cool on the internet. I survived, but I caught on early enough. I started being more in the community, but I think that's a huge thing. If you don't want to pay for a cool video or pay for ads or pay for photography, people got to know who you are.
Bro, you need a pink car, man. Get a pink car.
Yo, Jenna, I love your car, by the way. When I see it, I'm like, Jenna's next level. I'm thinking about wrapping my car in palm trees, following suit.
Yeah, I think that's just it. Again, Vince, Nadia and I were fortunate enough, to know a lot of people in Grand Rapids, and so when we hit the ground, we were getting people who we built relationships with over the years saying, hey, I'm gonna come in and do photo for free. I'm gonna come in and do video. Let me, do your social. Just because we had that, we put that investment in early because we were showing up at their events and we were supporting them and we were encouraging them. And so, Liz, you're right. Internet is free. You look at all these, multimillionaires who sat in front of their camera and started talking about, who they are and what they do, and they took off. And so I think, social has really helped us a lot. We even get a lot of customers posting for us. So, we don't have to do a lot of the heavy lifting where, they're posting and tagging us in their social media posts. And, and I think that, because we are small and we have a personal touch. And I always remind our staff that, we're not a big box chain restaurant. And so our personal touch and our personality and the experience is what's going to keep people coming through the doors. And so as long as we don't lose that and we keep that in front of us and we continue to push good product, I think we'll do just fine. But for sure, getting into the community and, making those early investments in relationships and connecting with people, it's going to pay huge dividends down the road.
So Shatawn, you just mentioned your staff, and I had this question, how do you get your staff to embrace your brand because they're ambassadors of your brand? And if it's all about creating experience, you're not there in every scene, right? So it's your staff that's carrying that all out. So how does your staff react to, oh, we're not going to be open, only on weekends or, things like that? And when you are open, how are they making sure that that they're part of that experience?
We just spent a lot of time, if any of you know Nadia and the work that she does outside of GR Noir, we're not rolling anything out until we feel 100% confident that it's right. And of course, the flip side of that is nothing's ever going to be 100% right. But for us, that's what we're striving for. And so, we can have people lined up around the corner ready to get in GR Noir, but if we don't feel that it fits and it feels good to us and that the staff can articulate, who we are and what we're about, then we're going to push pause until we get there. So we spent a lot of time, we still do spend a lot of time, in conversation with them about, GR Noir. We, from the wines, we have conversation, and I do tastings like all the time. I'm asking my distributors, I don't care what's the hottest wine that's out there. I want to hear the backstory. Is it Black owned? Is it women owned? How are these wines being produced? I mean, is it, we have organic, are they sustainable? Those questions. And so we want that to translate in everything that we do. And Brigham Consulting, our other business, it's all about equity and inclusion. And so we lead every conversation when we have with whoever it is, whatever vendor comes to our door, we're asking those questions. And so we're helping our staff look at GR Noir through that lens as well. How if someone comes in and asks you about GR Noir and why you believe in GR Noir as a brand, how do you communicate that? And so it's just ongoing conversation. And then for us, it's living it out. We just don't talk about, these things. We're engaged in it all the time, in front of people, on the phones, on emails, behind closed doors. And so we want the staff to just be really comfortable with with who they are and what they support. And so we continue to, have those conversations and remind them, and we push ourselves to remember, that while things are going great, for us, that may not be the story for someone or our neighbor down the street. And so then how do we support? How do we, help carry part of that burden as well? And so, our staff has been great. We're looking to hire right now because things are, picking up for us, and we don't want to compromise on our service. We don't want to stretch ourselves too thin and start to compromise the brand. And so even when we bring on new staff, it's just going to be the entire process we went through with our current staff. Here's who we are, here's what we expect, and here's how we, would love to partner with you as a staff. And that's the thing is, it's a partnership. While we're the owners, we're not dictators. We have our expectation of what we want, but we also want to know, we want you to bring your full self to the table as well. And so when we approach it that way, I think people are more inclined to buy in because we can articulate and talk about who we are and where we're trying to go. And staff is, glommed onto that, and they're taking off and they're running with it. So it's great when we're in the space and I can hear them talking about, who we are, our concept, and, it lets me know that, we've done a pretty good job coming out the gate with this, but, there's still more work to do. It's never done. And we're always looking to push ourselves to get better.
Anybody else?
Culture is huge. Liz and I are doing this. We're hiring a lot of other people in our other business, and we're always trying to align our visions to make sure we know what we're talking about. But yeah, it takes 7 times, 8 times before anyone gets what you're trying to do. And so make a cultural manifesto, make core values, do those beginning steps so people understand what you're up to. I always tell my team, we're a brand, right? We're a house of brands. This is our first step, We care about our consumer always first and foremost. Then we care about you next, then we care about, our product third, and then we care about profit last. Not saying I don't care about profit, because me, I care about profit a lot. But I don't want to make decisions. I think what happens is in restaurants, what happens when you start getting going, you start making decisions off cost, not decisions off your brand and your community. And what happens is when the big guys come in and say, we can save you 30 cents here, 50 cents here, 70 cents here, you really sacrifice your quality of your product. And yeah, it might be a better business. What's happening is that make sure you don't lose your brand in the process. When you start discounting your product, you might, it doesn't matter if this person doesn't know the menu all the way. It doesn't matter if this person's coming late. It doesn't matter if it's not clean. You walk in my restaurant any day of the week, it's spotless, right? I'm here right now because I'm about to clean the whole restaurant before people come in. That's part of our brand. We just care a lot about your experience, even if it's to go, right? It doesn't matter, right? And so I think for your staff, you have to sell them on it, and they have to want to buy into it. And not everyone will. You can't get frustrated if they don't.
Well, here's also the other issue we have with staff. We want to keep them safe. So They also have to know that we are following all the protocols we need to follow. Right. We're making sure that everyone's wearing their mask at all times. We're taking temperatures, all of these things. The staff needs to feel like we care about their health as much as we care about everyone's health. Yep. So that's been a real issue this year too, dealing with trying to figure out which businesses care enough to wear masks, not only in the front of the house, but also in the back of the house, and follow the rules that will keep everyone safe. That's been a huge issue, I think, all over restaurants in Michigan right now, as well as before. And I think we all know the people who aren't following the rules and deciding to open and be patriots or whatever they want to call themselves.
Oh, you see
I really feel like
Mm-hmm.
we need our staff to know that we care about their health, and we know that they're frontline workers, and we want them to feel safe, and we want them to be fed like Oscar fed his. I mean, we feed our team every day, so we know that they're not food insecure, you know. And all of those things, I think, build a team, but also make them feel safe. And that's really, really important to me. And I'm sure it's really important to you guys as well. But I swear, we went up north for around Christmas, and Maurizio walked into a place and walked right back out because he saw the people in the kitchen weren't wearing masks. And that just makes you understand that
That's what we want.
I mean, people need to know that people are watching.
Jenna, do you think staff members want to start getting paid more because of the new thing too? Have you been running into that, or do you think?
Well, they are getting paid more because we decided to go the route we are with the 5-course menu, and that was also a point for me. I want them to know that they're going to make more, and also during when we were doing takeout, the whole staff was getting tipped out, and they were making a lot more too because all the tips were going to all the staff. The bummer is when we went back to service inside, legally we can't split tips. So the front of the house is keeping the tips, and the back of the house went back to, you know, they're making more than they did before, but it was nice for the back of the house to be able to make tips. And I would love to be able to put a service charge on a bill and make sure all staff was getting tips. So that is always in the back of Maurizio and I's mind on how we can do that. And that's the only legal way. And that gets iffy, and people get sketchy about it, and they get squeamish. And so it's like hard we really want to make sure everyone feels loved and cared for. And so I really like to figure out a rule that will make that happen. I think the $15 an hour passing of laws soon that might happen is really going to affect restaurants as well. I think people are going to not go out as much because they're going to realize that all the food costs are going to go up, which means the tips are going to go up. Well, it's going to be a service charge. At that point, I think if anyone wants to overtip, that's the only way it's going to happen. So those are all things we have to think about in the future because COVID wasn't enough, apparently.
The challenge is going to be exciting. I think it's inevitable, and food costs and my food's already expensive. So I'm like, I do all organic, healthy things. So I'm just like, when they hit us with that, I'm just let my customers know. Just know that a box of chicken is going to cost you $25. And so that it is what it is. And I think it's great for the food industry, especially with ethnic food. I think they always expect our food to be cheap, quick, and it's like they don't really understand how much we're slaving over it. Like there is no. And I love Gordon Foods, I love Cisco, but there is no Gordon Foods Cisco pack for us. Like we are making everything from scratch every single day. And so it's like, I always try to communicate that to my customers. Like, hey, I know Chipotle sells this for $9, but I'm not Chipotle. I'm Irie Kitchen, and me and Pops are in the morning making this food. And it's like more of that conversation is like needed around food anyway, because we have to survive. We have to build a better business. So.
All right, I'm cutting you off, Vince, because here's the thing, you guys. These stories can all be told on social media free of charge. And I'll tell you one thing. I've been telling Vince to raise his prices for years, partly because I'll never forget, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but what I paid at Panera for a soup and salad combo, I never went again because I couldn't believe I just paid $20 for like maybe 3 ounces of salad and like 6 ounces of processed soup. And to me, while I understand it's West Michigan, I really don't like when people hate on West Michigan because we're not all West Michigan. But anyways, if you tell the story, for example, why is Irie Kitchen's food, why is the food more expensive? Because it's organic. Oh, wait, why do you serve organic food when you could just get it cheaper? Oh, here's that story. Here's that story. Here's this story. And I just think if you tell the story better, you can charge more money. Yeah. And you can do that on social media.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree with that, Liz, and that's what we run into. I'm a black wine and jazz bar, right? So I get wine from everywhere, and we've had those conversations with people. I can go here and purchase this wine for this amount. It's like, well, you can't because I know this wine is not there. and I know the backstory behind it. So let me explain. Let me help you understand the backstory of this. You know, where I have wine that I purchased. You know, winemaker doesn't make a lot of wine per year, has a small lot, and can't afford to pay his workers what he would love to pay them. But he has a dairy farm, and so what he does is that he supplements their pay with milk and eggs and cheese for their family. And so when I hear stories like that, then of course I'm going to jump on and support that because he's supporting something that I believe in. And so I can tell that customer that story to a customer. They're like, okay, I get why I need to pay $30 for that bottle of wine because it makes sense. It's like, absolutely. So I think the story for sure, you know, helps, you know, your brand, of course. And I think, you know, Vince comes to your spot. You know, I've been to some places where, you know, not here in Michigan where, you know, we've eaten food and it's like, man, Vince needs to, you know, up that a little bit. You know, people are making a killing, you know, outside of Michigan for what they're paying for. So I get it, Liz, and you're spot on with that. And Panera, you're right. You know, not to throw Panera under the bus, but I go into a place I'm like, this is not even a full meal. I'm gonna have to pay for this and then eat something 20 minutes later because I'm still hungry, you know, for that price. So I get it.
And that's why we have to spend our money wisely now when we go out. You know, think about the dollars you're spending and where they're going, because if you're recycling that money back into our community instead of a franchise community, we're going to build a stronger community that way. And I am very specific about where I go out to eat, and I'm very specific about posting where I go out to eat because I want more people to know about these smaller places. So if we can, as a community, continue to do that, and you know, it pisses me off to no end when I drive down Alpine and I see a line through Culver's or McDonald's that's out to the door, and then I see no one at El Burrito Loco. Like, come on, people, we have to do better. And it's on everyone to do better. So, I mean, I'm not trying to shit on franchises again, but for real, honestly, if we want our community to be strong, all of these small businesses are what make our community awesome. And the more of these small businesses we can promote and keep alive, the less maybe franchise will want to move in here. They'll say, hey, you know, I lived in San Francisco. They didn't allow franchises at all inside the city. And I feel like we need to start doing that here. We need to build a community that's full of every single type of food on the planet and just say no to franchises and talk to townships and say, why are you allowing that? When we could have all these awesome local places that we can support and make our community so amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We've only got a couple more minutes, and Jenna, that was a great segue into, you know, really what I want everybody to do is just kind of give, you know, a parting thought, or just how can the community support you better, or you know, what do you see moving forward as your new path forward? I'll just call it.
I'll start.
Okay.
I want to say, show grace. Teach people to show grace. We've had a year. There's no reason for you to act crazy when you don't understand why the hours are different online than on the window. There's no reason for you to lose your mind that we're only open Thursday through Saturday. Teach people to show grace. And I'm not talking about us because we know, but teach the other people that aren't in the industry to show grace to restaurant workers, to tip big because we've had a year, to be kind and smile and not make snide comments about why this wine costs so much. All of these things we have to teach other people because that will make our lives easier in the long run. And it will, and a lot of people don't know. So if we show them the industry, what we want to come back at us, maybe they'll listen, maybe they won't. But honestly, we need to be shown grace and kindness after the year that we've had, a year and a half, whatever it's going to be, 2 years. People need to know, and this is, I preach it all the time, show us some grace. I mean, someone came at me the other day because they were like, your website phone number is different than, I'm like, first of all, my guy doing my website's on vacation. When he comes back, I will fix it. Second of all, show some grace. We've been through it. We've been through it this year. We're not perfect. We're trying our best to stay afloat. And I just cussed her out, honestly, in a very Jenna nice way. but show grace, tip big, and be kind.
Cool. Chef Oscar.
Guess same thing. You know, it's like it's very hard. Like right now that we're like limited capacity. We have employees with full benefits or unemployment, and the math is wrong. You know, you got 25% capacity, and you cannot bring those employees back because you cannot promise those hours. They're making more money staying at home. So now even at 50% capacity, smaller restaurants can even do that. So sometimes we have customers that, you know, same thing, you know, like they look at the little things and not being grateful, you know, that you open and that you survive, and then you're trying to make it go for, you know, not only for the business, but also for the employees to bring back, you know, like all the staff. But yeah, it is, I think that we need to understand more of the restaurant workers and, you know, restaurant owners, you know, that all the year that we went through. Yeah. You know, a little bit more gracefulness. Yeah, it would be helpful.
Thanks. Daryl?
Yeah, I'll follow that trend. So yeah, I would say show grace and spend money. Spend lots of money locally. There's no reason to go to Panera. There's no reason to go to other places. And just again, with the patients, understand we're trying to get back as quickly as our customers want us to, but trying to do so in a thoughtful way. Again, we represent a lot of frontline workers, and people say that tongue in cheek, but we have a responsibility way more than just getting food out at a cheap price so people don't have to cook. So yeah, grace, patience in the bag.
Yep. Shatawn?
Yeah, I mean, everything Jenna, Chef Oscar, and Daryl shared, I mean, I echo. Definitely spend, be patient. You know, I get calls and messages all the time. I can't get a reservation. You know, it's like, I get it. You know, we're in the middle of a pandemic. You know, my seating capacity is only what it is. And even, I'm not even at a full 50, because people have to understand that even at 50%, you must still socially distance those tables and those seats. And so we just can't cram people in. So be patient with us. You know, someone like me who's just, you know, joining this venture, and spend money. And yeah, I think that's very, very important. Support local. You know, we try our best to get around to as many local places as we can, and spend money. So we're just not lip service. We're look at our bank statements. Oh yeah, we've been to a few places this week, huh?
Great. Liz?
I would say to anybody watching this, if you are dining out, tag the restaurant, reshare it, tell your friends about it, text it to your friends. I mean, Vince knows I tell everybody I meet about Irie Kitchen. And if you follow me on social media, I don't eat at chains, and I rarely eat even American food. And I'm always spreading the word about the dive, you know, small, family-owned, off the beaten path restaurants. And I know that there's interest in it, but people just aren't aware if it's not in their current radius. So spread the word, tag restaurants. And then the other thing I will say is I think we need to change the culture, what we perceive as the right amount of money to spend on food. I think for too long, we've thought that food should be as cheap as possible, and it should be able to feed as many people as possible. And I really think that you need to reshift where you prioritize your spending, because I see people spending money on all sorts of things, but then they'll complain about, you know, a $15 box of chicken. So, you know, how much did you just spend on those sneakers? I think people need to reshift where they're spending their money. And I think that food, we should be spending way more money on food every month. And I'm talking percentage. So if you're currently spending X percent on food, raise that up. All right, I'm done.
Thanks, Liz. Gilma?
Be nice. Be nice to us. You know, if you're gonna support us with being gentle, being super nice to our staff. We're just trying to give us the same quality you receive from the first day every day. If you know, just don't be angry to us. Don't give us that mean attitude. We're trying to give you the happiest experience. We understand that people have gone through a lot this year. When you come to us, we're going to try to make you happy with our food, but don't make us sad. When you support local businesses, you're supporting your own community. when you support franchises, who know that where that money goes. So I think that for us, we're just asking to be nice, be patient, and be grateful that we're out here providing you really good food and amazing experiences.
Great. And Vince, you can wrap it up for us.
Echo what everybody said. Liz, you're hating on the shoe community. I'm gonna fight for them. Everybody that likes the Yeezys and Dior Jordans, I see and understand. But for me, it's just saying thank you. So I know it's been hard on everybody, and you guys have supported my business. You've supported a lot of these businesses here, and I know that a lot of you guys aren't in the 1%, and so I appreciate you. The second thing is take that stimmy and spend it this weekend with me, with Daryl, with Jenna, with Oscar. Which please, you got the money now, so I don't want to hear no. I don't know what that stimmy got deposited, so I want big tips and big orders this weekend. And just have grace, man. Just know that we're trying. We work really hard, and I just appreciate you guys' support. You're going out and eating, and just be safe, man. Help us help you, right? For the Patriots out there, I love you guys, but just know that the longer you guys, harder for us to get there. So, pick your weekends. It don't have to be every weekend, and just that's how. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep going, but thank you guys so much. I appreciate your support of your business. The panel guys, too, you guys have been amazing. I've learned so much. Laurie, I hope you're not mad at me for asking too many questions. Murphy,
No.
I don't want any emails or anything like that. So thank you guys.
No, this was great. Thank you so much. I know we went a little bit over time, but the conversation was great, and you guys are rock stars, and I really appreciate you talking here this morning, and I look forward to visiting everybody soon. So thanks a bunch.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great. Bye.